Good morning. I'm back up in the rural setting of Dromore Parish graveyard, and I was looking through my friend Peter McCabe's videos on Belfast History Hub, where he goes around various cemeteries, and he had done a sort of a virtual tour of Dromore Parish Church here at Ballylesson, and he described this grave here. This is the grave of Derick Bingham, much loved husband, father and papa, 20th October 1946 to 6th of March 2010, and let's see what it says. Formerly lived by faith, but now lives by sight. And the last time I saw Derick Bingham, he was standing out in the cold, the freezing cold and rain, and he was welcoming people like myself into the Crescent Church, and it was a Tuesday night, because he ran a very, very popular Tuesday night Bible study, which was at its height. It was attended by up on 1,000 students from all over the city. And it was actually, really aimed at anybody, but it seemed to attract a huge student body to those Bible studies, and I was just quite taken that this man, who was a leading Belfast preacher and theologian and a widely travelled man, humbled himself to stand outside his church on a freezing cold night and welcome people in. And I just could not believe that, because that's not what you normally get. But anyway, more about Derick Bingham. He was born in Newcastle, County Down. He was an English teacher, and he loved language, and he was a teacher in Lurgan College. In fact, he taught our best man, Philip Barnes, Professor Philip Barnes. And Derick Bingham was a respected preacher, pastor, regular columnist in the Belfast Telegraph, and a regular contributor to Thought for the Day on Radio Ulster. He graduated from Queen's in 1968. He wrote, I think it was 23 books, and he was an aficionado. There's a big word for you. He knew all about C.S. Lewis, and he wrote books about C.S. Lewis. He wrote about William Wilberforce. He wrote about St. Patrick. He wrote books about He wrote a book about Amy Carmichael, who worked in India, a wee missionary girl from East Belfast. He wrote about the Brontes. He wrote about Michael Faraday. And he spoke at Keswick Convention many, many times. I knew his wife, Margaret, before they married, because she was at Stranmillis College. She was Margaret Smith, and I knew her sister Helen very well as well. But Derick married Margaret and went on to have 3 girls. And he was just a fine speaker, and he was a great storyteller, and he knew his Bible from back to front, and he could make the Bible actually come alive. Let's face it, the Bible's difficult enough to read, but this guy knew his stuff and could communicate it and could make it come to life. For everyday people like myself. And unfortunately, towards as he passed 60, he developed leukemia. And in fact, he used this time before he died to set in print a book called North of Shadowlands. Now, Shadowlands is a reference to C.S. Lewis, who went through his own turmoil at losing and grief at losing his wife. So Derick Bingham gives a nod to C.S. Lewis in the title of that book, North to Shadowlands. And it's a heartfelt attempt to grapple with issues of faith when faced with and living out a cancerous diagnosis. And many people have just been helped by the words of Derick Bingham, particularly in that book. But he has inspired others, thousands of others. He travelled in America. He was connected with a couple of American universities where he was visiting lecturer and all the rest of it. And his travelling was extensive, and his preaching ministry throughout the world was extensive, because this was a man who could speak to the everyday person in language that they could understand, and he wasn't standoffish. He was a father, he was a writer, he was a mentor, he was a pastor, he was a teacher, he was a counsellor, and he was a friend. So whenever I heard that Derick Bingham was buried in this graveyard at Dromore Parish, I just had to come back and give this wee tribute. Derick Bingham, gone but not forgotten. Dromore Parish Graveyard, Ballylesson, Belfast.